again. I'm back again. It's a 2-for-1. A 2-for-1. Have y'all ever seen that series? It's kind of old now. I think it came out in like 2017, something like that. I don't know. It's called Moonlight Midnight Gospel. I feel like everybody knows it by now. It's an animation of a podcast series. I don't remember the guy's name who had the podcast, but it's a little animation series. The animation looks like something that you would find on, what was that, Channel 42? No, whatever, I don't remember the damn channels. Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. It seems like something from over there, or that type of animation. Anyways, the whole point is, I was thinking about it last night, and I loved my last video. We were talking about initiations, right? Through whatever process, death, rebirth, childbirth, getting socked, getting taken advantage of. All of those things are initiations, right? So when I watched Midnight Gospel, is it Moonlight? Midnight? I think it's Midnight Gospel. I really loved that series, and I know it's dated now, but we're gonna talk about it anyway. Because there was a man, a little earthling, who was out in space, and he was in his little spaceship, right? And whenever he wanted to go off to another planet, he had this time machine that would tick to the direction of where he needed to go, but it was a coochie. Go back and look. That portal was shaped like this, okay? And he would travel through the coochie, okay? He would travel through it, and he would shoot out. This is all in the animation, and he would look like a little sperm that would go out into space, but he was in his spaceship as the sperm, landing on whatever planet, and it would have whatever foreign beings, well, they were foreign to us because we're just watching, but whatever species of people, human-like looking things, it would be whatever was inhabiting that planet. He would land, he would get a guide, they would take him on the whole little process of whatever the system was of that planet. But mind you, it was a podcast series, but he's asking, I think it's him, and is the whole series, is it other, no, it's his guest. Yeah, it's his guest. The last one was his mother. His mother was like getting ready to pass on, and so a lot of the questions had to do with death, but different understandings about life as well. So the commentary is substance about life and different portals and different understandings, but the codes and the messages were not only in the conversations the guest and the host were having, it was also the animation. We're watching like the chaos that's going on in that planet, the fighting. I remember there was a scene where they're like, the president needs to be overtaken because he's invoked the entire population to be like zombies or something, and they're casually just like shooting all the zombies that he's created. This president that's like gotten into the minds of the people, whatever, right? But then when all of that is complete, he gets back into his spaceship, he dials into his machine and goes through that portal again, looking like sperm, traveling through space, traveling through the womb to find another place to inhabit and learn from. And I mean, it might be so common sense, but I just want to know how many people are watched that, picked up on the message, picked up on the codes, and understand that that's exactly what we're experiencing. That's exactly what we are experiencing. Men use us as time machines. Time machines and sources of travel to travel through different planets to inhabit. You know, each person is a universe, but more importantly, each womb is a portal. And you are quite literally traveling through time and space in what you can consider the womb, because it is. The deep ocean, the deep sea, all of it's the same thing. And we're hopping from planet to planet to learn what we need to learn. And it kind of goes with my theory and many other people's theory that not only men are these alien species that are traveling, using us as a source of travel through their DNA to get to one place and another place and another place, because without that sperm traveling through and acting as a rocket, I mean, quite literally is a rocket ship traveling through space to discover more about yourself. But my first question is like, maybe that is what makes them so foreign, is because they are the alien species that has to discover where they are and how they got here and what is this. Because you have women where we quite literally are just being. We just are. And it's an understanding. I mean, we didn't need to shoot our DNA into a hole to find something. You know? I mean, this whole planet and outer space and the discovery of another planet and a discovery of another thing, and this searching and finding, we need to go explore to search and to find more about this and more about that. Do we have history of women searching high and low to understand where they are? We just are where we are, and we are who we are, and we know who we are, and we understand what's going on. But you have this foreign being that's just here trying to conquer everything and discover and find and fuck its way into the great abyss. I don't know. So yeah, anyways, Midnight Gospel was and is one of my favorite series, but I really loved that reenactment of an alien. It wasn't even an alien, it was a man. Okay, he was the only man that was out into space and was traveling each place he needed to go through, shooting through a coochie. Okay, and I loved the visual of that, because I think it had to wake up plenty of other people, right? If you didn't have that visual, that concept, it probably shot your brain to view a higher point, a higher perspective. It had to, right? It had to. I remember as a kid sitting in my Nana's room, and I just would sit there by myself and I would just visualize above the house, above the neighborhood, above the city, above the state, above the country, and I would just go higher and higher and higher to see what I can perceive. But that perception also is because of the information, because you can be in a plane and you understand, like, oh, okay, there's the borderlines, there's that, but we don't have the physical opportunity to go view what it's like being in a spaceship. But I don't know, being a woman, I can kind of like visualize what it's like because we have a womb, and the universe is a womb, and to travel and to be in it is quite literally like the galaxy. You got all these planets and all these things emitting energy and evolving. They are evolving, but I mean spinning around, rotating, gyrating, emitting different gases and all the things, pulsating. We're in a body. We're in a body. And I just wonder, has a man thought about himself and his body and what it can create and what it does and how it functions, and was able to correlate it to our existence and where we are and how we got here? Because my body sends people through here. And all I can think about is Buzz Lightyear through infinity and beyond. I mean, this isn't just so profound, but it's just fun to say out loud. It really is just fun to say out loud. I don't know. So anyways, ladies, again, I think I'm just here sweeping out the cobwebs, okay? The corners of the womb need to be cleaned. That might have been crazy. The corners need to be dusted. The cobwebs need to be got, okay? The little corners. And I'm doing my cleaning, okay? Because the time is here, the time is now. So if you don't remember these things about yourself, I am gladly here to remind you. You are a divine being. You are the replication, the replica, the prototype of what is the greater environment, the greater system. So when you think about creating and manifesting and all of these things, that's kind of like a tool that a man or a foreign being has to remember. You know, that's like when you know something, you just know it. You just are it. You just be it. You don't need to talk about it. You don't need to write it down. You don't need to create laws and orders and covens and religions and secret societies and groups and clubs and memberships and have books and pamphlets. You don't really need to do that. You just exist and you just frolic around and you just be yourself, and then you remember, oh my God, 4 days out of the month, 5 days, 7 days out of the month, I feel like blissfully on top of the world, but I'm also hungry as a bitch, angry as a bitch, but I'm I'm like in a state of euphoria at the same time, and my uterus is emitting all of the toxins, all of the waste. This happens on a cycle. And if I sit back and I look at nature and I'm watching it do the same damn thing, time and time again, to the point where if I don't pay attention to it, something wrong with me. So it's not something you would need to write down. And I know people are in the mission of studying themselves, which is great. But if you could just sit back and just stop and just be as a woman, you would remember, oh, that time is coming around where I think I want to eat a little meat. I think I want to practice shooting something. You just have an urge for a little bit more violence. That's because you're getting ready to eradicate what needs to be gone. Because that next week, it's really falling out. You see? And we see the planet do the same exact thing. A little bit of chaos, a little bit of earthquake, a little bit of this, a little bit of that is happening because we're getting ready to clean house. And then it gets blissfully happy again. And we feel loving and we want to take care of this and we want to grow this and kiss and cook and all of the things. And the environment reflects exactly that. Look at us in the summer month. It's hot. It's bringing inspiration. It's loving. It feels like family time. It feels like time to be seen, time to be your best. All I'm saying is being a woman, quite literally, is knowing the planet, is knowing the earth, is knowing where we are. And you don't have to read nothing about that. You just need to sit with yourself and remember. You know, just have a little chit chat like we're doing right now. So that's my point, is there's so much content out there right now that obviously women are going through another awakening like no other because of the internet, but it's only because, again, we're replicating what's of us. We have these channels already in us that allow us to communicate telepathically. This is something that we do. So in the material world, here we are with phones, and here we are with the internet, the web, for us to connect. But spiritually, subconsciously, women, we were going, it's time to get up, sis. It's time to wake up. Okay? We was going to do it regardless. So, again, there's so much content on the internet that is kind of getting women to love themselves, remember their power, all of the things. But it seems very, very telling that there's just still some things we need to remember. You don't need to do the most, okay? You don't need to read every damn book. You need to study yourself. And then when you think you're done studying yourself, study some more. A man said that. And of course, this is not man versus woman, but it's just a remembrance of who you are, what they are, what we're doing. How do you remember who you are so they remember who they are? Because there is a group that named themselves the Ma Sons, the Mother Sons. They didn't call themselves the Fossons. They don't want to be the father sons, father and son. Even if they still was the father and son, the father and son still is the mother's sons. Simply. So I'm sweeping up the cobwebs, and like I said, I'm getting the rest of the ladies that need to remember, because there is going to come a time when we need to telepathically communicate. And the message also is lean into the crazy. This is what I've been hearing all week. And that's why I'm on this camera. So I'm rambling. I hope it all streamlines together. I wrote a few things down, but fuck it. That's really the point. The message has been clear to lean into your crazy. That is your power. That's how you're going to free your mind and free who you are and just be. We are no longer in the era where there's a crazy bitch running and we need to capture her. I mean, if you're setting shit to flame, that's different, ma'am. If you're trying to harm others, that's different, ma'am. We're not over here doing a whole bunch of hocus pocus, trying to inhabit the minds of people who don't have strong wills. That's not what we doing over here. I ain't never stirred a pot, did a thing to take over the mind of another. We're not those kind